In the past 2 years, non-alcoholic beverages have experienced a meteoric rise in popularity. We can't quite put our finger on it, but something has been happening since 2020 that's turned many people towards new methods of managing increasing levels of stress.
Everyone knows where to get their caffeine fix, or everyone knows where to go when they need energy, which is why we've created such a crazy stress culture in America, where everyone's pumping themselves up with sugar and caffeinated products all the time, increasing their heart rate and their cholesterol and their anxiety, diminishing natural melatonin in their bodies, and then wondering why can't I go to sleep?
We'd like you to meet Sol Broady, the founder of a beverage startup called Leilo. This little can is standing tall in a competitive health drink market, thanks to some bootstrapped funding and a powerful indigenous Polynesian ingredient, Kava.
And I could speak a lot more about, but I think we'll kind of get into it as we go.
Kava now stands in the American market's limelight and is inspiring people to lay low. What is the history behind creating Leilo?
So I stumbled upon the idea for Leilo coincidentally and totally fortuitously. So I had no intentions of getting into the beverage space. I went to Fiji on a very random trip in 2017. One of my best friends in Fiji, his name is Benji. He kept telling me about Kava and about the Kava ceremonies that they had and the Kava celebrations that they had. And I had no idea what Kava was in the first place. So Kava, it's a root that grows out of the ground. It takes 3 to 5 years to mature, much like agave. And then its process is taken out of the ground, and the traditional consumption method is to grind it up, put it in a tea bag, like a strainer, and add lukewarm water in a big bowl, and then to kind of muscle out the fibers from the kava into the water for 30 to 45 minutes. And then you sit in a circle and you say a little prayer and drink out of coconut shells on the beach. And it's, as you can imagine, incredibly relaxing, super cool, culturally immersive experience. And I was blown away by the efficacy, the functionality of Kava. So Kava has 5 main properties. It's a pain reliever, muscle relaxant, antidepressant, anti-insomniac, and lastly, it's a cognitive booster. The last quality, boosting mental cognition, enhancing your mental functionality, completely separates it from the aforementioned categories, because you're not slurring your words, you're not acting out of character, you feel very grounded, but your body is increasingly relaxed and you're feeling increasingly euphoric. So I was experiencing all this stuff whoa, okay, wait a second, this stuff works. And then this was when I really had that eureka moment. My family had no idea that I had consumed kava or any functional ingredient. They thought I was acting normally. It was at that moment that I said to myself, I don't know what this is. I don't know why it's not bigger. I don't know what the obstacles are, but this is really powerful stuff. And I think it can make a huge difference in the lives of people back home that are suffering from the same anxiety and the same stress and crazy work-life balance that I was going through.
Kava is also known as yaquana, malok, or awa, depending on the different places it's grown, like Fiji, Hawaii, Vanuatu, and Papua New Guinea. Because this is historically used in indigenous cultures, Western science has yet to confirm research on its effects. The FDA may want to catch up, because this ingredient is starting to pique everyone else's interest. What were some obstacles you had to overcome in the early stages of Leilo?
So the problem that I immediately ran into when I was trying to sample this with friends and family is I'm not Fijian. We weren't on a beach. It was taking me way too long to grind the stuff out. It tasted terrible, so they wouldn't drink it. They were all turning their noses. And then they weren't feeling the effects because they weren't drinking enough because it tasted bad. So it was just a massive rejection across the board from everyone that I cared about. And so I immediately started doing all the research that I could and making random concoctions in my kitchen. I eventually found that horchata was the best vehicle because dairy, spice, and sugar were the best maskers that I could find in horchata, and fermentation. And so horchata hit all those notes. So at this point, I was at Columbia now in my freshman year. literally lugging around like coolers full of rice and milk and cinnamon and kava extract. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, I would bring it to wherever people were. And I would go there and with my little cooler and my baby bottles of horchata, and I would, without charging people, just say, hey, try this. I want to fill out this feedback form. You're essentially the focus group. Even that was extremely difficult because, people literally thought I was selling breast milk. People would literally take it and just throw it over the fence or something, or they would just dump it out in front of my face. So it was really discouraging, though the few people who actually took me seriously really liked it. And they were like, holy crap, I feel something. There was enough positive stuff within all of that crap that I was dealing with to keep going. But that was the point where I said, let's do this. And that's kind of when Leilo was born. I was at the end of my freshman year at Columbia in 2019.
How did you go about marketing and branding Leilo?
So our biggest, by far, our biggest marketing claim is calm in a can, right? Calm in a can. And that's very simple, but it's very powerful at the same time, right? Nothing like that exists. There's a reason that my dumb ass has gotten to this point. It's because Leilo is calm in a can. And that's why the marketing was the R&D work, was getting to the point where we could put enough kava lactones in a can and test that can after it's made to know per clinical studies that, because of this, and this reason, you will feel relaxed. Our cans are standardized to reduce general anxiety disorder with a single serving, right? So we know it's going to work. And when we say calm can, we mean it. The can does the talking for us. And then really it's word of mouth and it's excitement over the product, which is there. The one thing I do always say as well is it's just a drink. I'm not Elon Musk, designing a rocket ship. It's a drink. It's not that complicated. You don't need to talk about a drink for that long or put that many words on the can, right? Just drink the drink. And if it's a good drink, you'll keep buying it. And that's what's happening.
What has been the mentality that's helped you with this startup?
I think there's this notion that someone needs to give you permission. There's no external doctrine there's no checklist of what you need to have and what you need to do. And oftentimes, advantages can be turned into disadvantages or vice versa based on how you want to apply them and think about the situation. And I think it's necessary and helpful for anyone thinking about a venture like this to really distinguish the phases here. That first phase was low profile. It's I don't want to be embarrassed by this. I'm going to stay in the shadows. I'm going to do as much dirty work as I can. I'm going to inflict as much pain on myself as I possibly can without spending money. It was really important to me that there were legs to stand on in the first place. I was insecure. It was my first business that I was starting. I didn't want to screw it up. People already thought that I was really dumb and that this was never going to work. I leaned into that. It helped me. It got all of the problems that I was going to encounter anyway out of the way. It built up really thick skin. It built up a real dedication to what I was doing.
About 77% of small businesses fund themselves like Sol does, by using personal savings and elbow grease. When you're self-funding, you're taking on all the risks of starting a business, but also all of the rewards if you get it right. There's also the matter of your business taking over your whole life. We've heard it from entrepreneurs before, and listening to their experiences can give you well-rounded expectations. Sol, do you have any final advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
If you need any extra or external motivation or persuasion or whatever, it's don't do it, because it's just not worth it. You're not doing it for these other people. You're not doing it because for someone else's motivation. It's for you. You're the one who's responsible in a very significant and inextricable way, right? You can't just say, okay, now let's go back. I actually don't want to have employees and have a company and have debt and have, once you turn it on, you can't turn it off. So just chill and just do your research and think about it. And think about all the ways it could go wrong, and keep thinking about those things. And don't start the business. And when you are ready, put your foot in the ground and never look back.